Yo, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the JT Sports Podcast. I'm your host, JT. USC 27, LSU 20. Hold on real quick. I got to call the police department real quick. Hello, officer? Yeah, how you doing tonight? Oh, I'm doing great. USC just won. I was calling you tonight because I wanted to file a missing person report on a large group of people. Yeah, I want to file a missing person report on all of the Lincoln Riley doubters and the USC haters out there because I don't hear them no more. They're nowhere to be found. All off season you heard, Lincoln Riley's overrated. He doesn't know defense. He'll never get the defense right. LSU is going to run all over USC. Oh, USC doesn't have the same amount of talent as LSU does on defense. How about it? Where are all the haters at now? Where are the doubters at? I can't hear you. But what I do hear is a USC victory, though. Tonight in this game, USC's defense had the best performance that we've seen in damn near a year. The last time they held a team to this low of a point score was around this same time last year when they played Nevada and held them to only 14 points. This was the best defensive performance that we've seen out of USC in well over 365 days. I mean, this defense was outstanding. Did they have some mistakes? Yes. Did they have a couple of big plays that they gave up? Yes. But this defense stepped up and got stops in the biggest moments of the game. The Deanne Lynn magic, people. I was saying it all off season that USC's defense was going to surprise a lot of people. If Deanne Lynn last year was able to take UCLA from being one of the worst defenses in college football to one of the best in the span of 1 year, why wouldn't he be able to do the same? We saw the impact of the Deanne Lynn hire tonight. Because if this defense was like we saw last year, USC would have lost this game by probably 2 or 3 touchdowns. You see, the difference in USC now is that you see a more physical team that's bigger up front, and they're not getting pushed around. You got guys in the secondary now that are actually coming down and making tackles, man. Guys are ready to hit. Guys are ready to bang. Like Deanne Lynn has completely done a 360 with USC's defense. LSU's defense played pretty well. Their defense looked majorly improved compared to what we saw last year. Last year, LSU had the worst defense in the history of their football program. The hirings of Blake Baker and Deanne Lynn were on full display tonight because both of these defensive coordinators had fantastic game plans. But Deanne Lynn was the better of the two. His defense, he was throwing a lot of exotic looks at Garrett Nussmeier, and they did a very good job of being able to get big plays for a loss behind the line of scrimmage, despite how good LSU's offensive line is. USC was severely underestimated going into this game against LSU. I heard way too many folks out there in the national media saying how LSU had the advantage. Both of these two teams were evenly matched, and that's what we saw. We saw a game between two good teams, two evenly matched teams. Neither one of these teams had the talent advantage, but the advantage that won this game was coaching. Lincoln Riley outcoached Brian Kelly. Brian Kelly now is 0-3 in season openers. I believe that Lincoln Riley has USC heading in the right direction. Things looked a little bit rocky last year, and everybody was quick to hop off the bandwagon. Everybody wanted to turn on Lincoln Riley when 2023 was the worst season of Lincoln Riley's entire coaching career. You couldn't say a guy who has had the same defensive coordinator every year that he's been a head coach outside of this year didn't know defense. The problem was Alex Grinch. And with how well the defense played the night against LSU, I'm asking myself, what took Lincoln Riley so long to cut ties with that dead weight? because that's what was holding USC's defense back. Alex Grinch didn't know what the hell he was doing. And when you get a defensive coordinator in there who actually knows how to maximize the talent that the Trojans have, you get the outcome that you got tonight with this Trojans defense stepping up big time. But USC offensively, I mean, they were great too. Miller Moss looked fantastic. Caleb Williams, who? USC isn't missing a single beat at quarterback. When it comes to developing quarterbacks for the NFL, it gets no better than Lincoln Riley. This dude is a quarterback factory. Every quarterback that he touches automatically turns into gold damn near. I mean, every quarterback that he's worked with has become a first-round pick, the #1 overall pick, and the Heisman Trophy winner outside of Spencer Rattler. Miller Moss is going to continue the conveyor belt that Lincoln Riley has become when you look at the development of quarterbacks and how well he's able to maximize the guys who he has underneath center. Now, USC's receiving core, we all know about Zachariah Branch. But this number 10 dude, oh my goodness, he was a highlight machine. This dude has like glue for hands. I mean, he catches everything. The ball just has to touch the tip of his fingertips and he's coming down with it. He had one-handed grab that he had earlier in this game. I was like, okay, I see you. We think of LSU for being wide receiver U. Kyron Lacey was doing this thing out there. We know LSU is nice with the wide receivers, but USC's wide receivers, everybody that started at wideout for the Trojans in this game was a 4-star recruit or better, and they also were top 100 players out of their respective recruiting classes. I mean, this was a all-around great performance out of USC. And for LSU, I've said it once and I'm going to say it again, Brian Kelly is the most overrated head coach in college football. LSU is never going to win a damn thing with this dude as their head coach. They may make it to the college football playoffs. They may make it to a natty or two, but they're never going to come away with the big one because Brian Kelly sucks in big games. Lincoln Riley exposed the truth about Brian Kelly, which is that he's not really that good of a coach. All he did was make excuses for why he couldn't recruit at Notre Dame and why he couldn't win the big one. And you see Notre Dame flourishing in recruiting under Marcus Freeman. They just got a big-time win on the road in College Station Saturday night against Texas A&M. I wonder what's going to be Brian Kelly's excuse for why LSU lost this game in the press conference. This dude is severely overrated. And for all of the people out there who were coming at Lincoln Riley's neck saying that USC was going to suck, they were going to be a dumpster fire, you probably should revert some of that energy to LSU. Because I don't think they're going to be that good this year. I think they are incredibly overrated. That defense looked really good. That offense looked pretty good, but Brian Kelly is just not that good of a head coach in my eyes. Lincoln Riley is due for a lot of apologies, and I'm wondering if he's going to get them. You know, for all y'all that were doubting this dude, saying that USC was heading in the wrong direction, how he was probably going to lose his job this year, you owe this man an apology, and you know who you are. Lincoln Riley has been to numerous college football playoff appearances. He also has won the Big 12 Conference several times in the past, and this dude has won multiple big games throughout his career, and he got another big-time win tonight, taking down LSU 27-20. This was a great all-around performance, and this was a great game overall. I had a lot of fun watching this game. This definitely was one of the best Week 1 games. And, you know, there was a time during this game where I thought LSU was about to run away with it. It felt like after halftime, LSU started to get the momentum on their side. But once we got into the fourth quarter and you had a couple of false start penalties, you also had that key targeting penalty late, which set up USC in great field position. USC was the more disciplined team. And they were the more well-coached team, and they were the team who made the big stops and the big plays in the critical moments of this matchup, which is why they're walking away 1-0 and why LSU is walking away 0-1. A lot of you were picking LSU to win this game. People were calling me crazy to think that a West Coast team, USC, that was soft, they were finesse, wasn't going to be able to pull off this victory. I mean, y'all were so wrong with the narratives that y'all were spewing out about the Trojans. It doesn't matter what conference you're from. What matters is how well coached you are and can you execute when you need to. When it matters the most, when chests get tight, palms get sweaty, can you step up, make a big throw? Can you get a big stop on third down? And USC was able to do that. LSU had some success on the ground. That John Emery dude, I thought that he was Najee Harris' cousin from the way he was playing. I mean, he was running guys over. I mean, he was a freight train. Where the hell has this dude been all these last couple of years? I mean, he was one of the highest rated running backs coming out of his recruiting class a few years ago. I'm trying to figure out where's he been all these years. I mean, this dude is a tank. And LSU has a solid squad. But I just don't see it with Brian Kelly. The future is brighter in USC and Southern Cal. And a win like this not only sets this season up to be one of those years when USC can overachieve relative to expectations, because a good amount of folks out there see USC being a 7-8 win team at best this year. I got them winning 9-10 games. And when you get a big time win this early in the season, it's a great tone setter. It gets you off to a great start, and it also helps you in recruiting. A few months ago, USC had a couple of 4 or 5 star defensive linemen that ended up decommitting and going to Georgia. At least one of them went to Georgia. I forgot where the other one went. Now, with the win like this, you can get back on that recruiting trail and pitch those defensive recruits. Hey, like, look how great our defense played against LSU. You mean to tell me that you don't believe that we can help develop you and get you ready for the next level? You mean to tell us that after we held LSU to 20 points that you don't think that you will be a great fit in this defense with Deanne Lynn? I mean, this dude is doing God's work with USC's defense. They were more bigger. They were stronger. All this offseason, Lincoln Riley has made changes to the defense as far as not just bringing in a new defensive coordinator, but overhauling his entire defensive staff. This is one of the best defensive staffs in America that USC has. But you didn't hear it being talked about much. The changes that Lincoln Riley made this offseason were often overlooked. All you heard people saying is that, oh, USC is going to be dog shit this year. They still aren't going to get it on defense. Oh, it's going to take more than just hiring Deanne Lynn to change this defense. He's not going to be able to change it overnight. Well, what did we see tonight against LSU? You saw a completely different defense that was unrecognizable from the defenses that Lincoln Riley has had his last couple of years, not just in Southern Cal, but as a head coach in general. This is probably the best defensive performance that he's ever had against a top 25 team ever. The defense was outstanding tonight. They gave up a couple of big plays, but that's just what comes with defense. Overall, USC with this win showed us all tonight that they're more than ready for the Big Ten. I mean, if you can have your way and find a way to slow down LSU's offense with them having a top 10 offensive line, they got 2 offensive tackles that are going to be drafted in the first round of the 2025 NFL draft. If you can hold your own up front against LSU's offensive line, you're more than equipped to be ready to handle the physicality and the bully ball mentality that's going to come with playing in the Big Ten Conference. Congratulations to USC on proving all the haters and doubters wrong, and I'm eagerly awaiting for the Lincoln Riley apologies out there. And I can't wait to hear what LSU fans got to say, because y'all were talking so much smack about this game. Y'all were talking all that crap, And now you got to eat crow because you're walking out with the L. Appreciate all you guys for tuning in. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss when we go live and upload new content. Turn on post notifications. Remember that we aren't just a YouTube channel, we are a podcast. You can find this episode and all of our other ones in audio format on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, wherever you get your podcast from. The JT Sports Podcast is available. I will see you guys shortly with another episode.